Prices. Boost Infinite Wireless. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com. Or
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all a scam. All a scam. I know it's all a scam.
it's Jennifer Cooley. Boost Infinite Wireless.
The fuck? I ain't top, bitch. Ugh. Hate this damn thing.
.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank. Member FDIC.
Hate this thing so much. I hate this thing. Oh, I hate this so much.
Thank you, Joe. I didn't get that far in that article. I saw it. I didn't read about any of the relationship stuff, but I have quoted him several times to people about somebody taught him, one of his mentors, you're either a fountain or a drain.
Yeah, I thought that was really
You're
good.
either giving energy or you're drained.
Well, and his coach said, and Travis, you're a drain.
You're an effing drain.
What I thought was interesting, and I think I know this happened to me in my life. I need to happen to happen to my kids in their life. He had to work a real job. So I'm sure he was a standout star athlete in high school, and then he went to a big college. But he got caught smoking pot, so he got booted out of the football program for a year, lost his scholarship, and had to get a regular job. And he was doing telemarketing stuff like call-out surveys, and he hated it so flippin' much that he thought, I'm never doing this sort of thing again, and got his act together for a career.
I am such a big believer in negative consequences.
No kidding.
They have led to everything positive in my life. If he hadn't removed negative consequences from bad behavior,
Damn, that's cold
had
too.
an awful job, just like
Damn.
Brian had several awful jobs.
Fucking
might not have
here is
pursued,
cold.
Thing you could be good at.
Hate how cold it
And if
is.
every time I
Ugh.
did something stupid, somebody I
fucking
cared about didn't
sick
say
of how
that's
cold it
stupid,
gets.
I'd have kept doing stupid. It made me stop.
I can't
It's a
sleep with
blessing.
this.
Armstrong and Getty.
Here's some guys who've done right. Big Mountain Heating and Air, great company. Maybe you don't know them, you're not familiar with them. They've been doing business in our area for just about 20 years, doing heating and air conditioning, and they've got this 2-for-1 rejuvenation special, absolutely worth looking
Oh, I
into.
hate how cold it
So it's
gets.
only $78, which
hate
with
it so
inflation
much.
is nothing, man. And it guarantees your air conditioner or furnace will not break down in the next year, or the service is free. And that's not all. Guaranteed to save more than twice the cost of that service on your utility bills, or Big Mountain will refund the service cost, period.
And Big Mountain doesn't do the typical tune-up sales gimmick. It's real work, 2 to 3 hours from the best techs in Northern California working on your system, trying to get it into great shape. They want to impress you, so you'll call them in the future, and we'll bet you will be impressed. Go to BigMountainAir.com to book your appointment. That's BigMountainAir.com. The 2-for-1 rejuvenation service at BigMountainAir.com.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the ERTC program, stop right now. Don't fall for false promises. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility. Being innovative with taxes can lead to an audit. All ERTC companies are not the same. The easiest way to know if a company is non-compliant is to ask one simple question. Is the CPA working on my file a W-2 employee of your company? If not, stop right now. Contact ERTC.com. IRS compliance is not an option. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3122. 800-200-3122. 800-200-3122. That's 800-200-3122.
Updated news at the top and bottom of every hour. Now, traffic on Talk 650 KSTE and streamed on the iHeartRadio app.
In Roseville, southbound 65 at Pleasant Grove Boulevard, we've got a 2-vehicle accident moved to the center divide. Stop and go traffic on Cap City's westbound between 160 and the American River, and slow and go in South Sacramento on Highway 99 northbound between Mack Road and Fruit Ridge. Traffic every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons on KFBK News Radio, 93.1 FM, 1530 AM.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm
I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and I sell custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive pro, do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Armstrong and Getty, weekdays 6 till 10 at Sacramento's best talk all day. And iHeart's radio station, Talk 650 KSE, Rancho Cordova, Sacramento.
I don't live my life of regret. Like I said before, I'll come to a teammate's defense anytime that I'm in a position to come to a teammate's defense. That's what a team is. You stick together, do the good and the bad.
So Draymond Green, he got suspended for 5 games, which is a pretty long suspension in the NBA for choking another dude. We were talking about that before we went on vacation. The reason I wanted to play that is flack, but he said on one of his shows, he said he'd have done exactly the same thing. He said somebody attacks your teammate like that, you got to stop him. If I had to choke a guy to do it, I'd choke a guy. There you go.
Headlock, choke. There are a lot of ways to describe what he did.
Exactly, tomato, tomato.
Wait, is the guy's head still attached to his neck? Did he die? Did he pass out? No, boys will be boys. Play on, that's what I say.
Play on. Here's news with Katie Green.
And the Warriors will play on. They play the Kings tomorrow night, so that'll be fun to watch.
The Kings currently like in the 6th spot. The Warriors certainly like the 10th spot.
And before you cut into that cantaloupe this morning for breakfast, beware. California is now among 32 states with a salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupe. So far, there's been only 1 case of someone getting sick. 2 brands have recalls, and those are the Malchita and Rudy cantaloupes that were purchased between October 10th and November 3rd.
We had the Galapatrons go through our house, but I don't think we're eating any in Kansas. Do you like any more updates?
Let us know how things proceed.
TLI, too little information. That's what you were thinking.
Durr.
And California theme park is going viral, but for all the wrong reasons. A video out of Disneyland shows a streaker running through the scenes of the iconic It's a Small World ride. Guests were on the ride when they noticed the man reportedly stripped down to his underwear, start roaming around the displays of the ride, and then he jumped into the water completely naked before being carried away by security and police.
Well, I was going to ask if it was a male or a female, because that makes a difference.
It was a guy.
What day was it? My kids were at Disneyland over Thanksgiving.
This was on Friday.
Okay, they just missed it. They just missed seeing a man's wang.
And they had to shut the ride down for a whole hour because of this incident.
Well, they see Wang on the streets of your town.
True. Why do you have to shut the ride down for an hour? Because a naked guy jumps in the pool?
Not sure.
I can't imagine.
An hour
To
seems
make
like
sure there aren't more naked guys lurking behind the little Swiss kids on the mountain, and it's a small world. I mean, who cares? This is California we're talking about.
The kids thought that the Spider-Man and the Iron Man weren't very pleasant to them. Aren't they supposed to be, like, super friendly? Those actors?
Yeah.
They weren't.
From the Abraham Lincoln Radio Studio, the George Washington Broadcast Center, Jack Armstrong and Joe Getty. The Armstrong and Getty Show.
Donald Trump's been leading wire to wire and big. Right now, he's up 45 points plus on his closest rival. That is not a close race. It isn't the same, though, as in the early states. In Iowa and New Hampshire, we're talking about 27, 28-point leads. Critically, Donald Trump's winning by a lot, but he's under 50% in both of those early voting states, and that gives Trump's rivals a lot of hope, that maybe even expectation, that once people start to engage, there's a chance of changing those numbers and maybe someone breaks through in one of those states.
Giving them a lot of hope, being behind 28 points. I don't know if it's a lot of hope.
That's straight out of the sportscaster saying, yeah, the Jets are down by 5 touchdowns, but they have an explosive offense, Jim. Don't touch that dial.
Right. You see, the downside with if you're running against Trump, and I wasn't planning to talk about this, but here I am. We're 50 days out now from the first voting in Iowa, 50. But the downside is Trump's not an unknown quantity. He's not like oftentimes Jeb or Rick Perry or whoever the heck is ahead, you know, got the big lead, just Rudy Giuliani on name recognition. When they start running, but Trump is as known a quantity as there's ever been in the history of politics.
Right. Yeah.
So, that's enough of that.
I was just reading about Haley and DeSantis casting aspersions at each other, trying to grab the mantle as the silver medalist for now, just in case something crazy happens. But that's what else are they doing? I mean, to think, well, we're a few points down, but we're gaining ground. Come on, no.
Right. There's another debate here in December 6th, I think. Does that ring a bell, Katie? Could you look that up? There's a debate.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. You watch it. Here's what I did mean to talk about. This was a big headline in the Wall Street Journal while we were off. Voters see American dreams slipping out of reach, according to a Wall Street Journal New York poll. Fewer believing that anyone who works hard can get ahead. So let's answer that question first. Do you, Joe Getty, believe that if you work hard, you can get ahead?
Depends. No, I just did that to annoy you. Yes,
I know. I'm an absolutely 100%. Yes.
You know, I don't want to steal your thunder because I have a feeling you want to go a little more in depth onto that article or whatever.
I'll get into some of the numbers here.
Yeah, of course, yeah. If you work hard, you will be in better shape than if you hadn't. Now, if you believe in some sort of notion of work-life balance that I don't quite share, you might think, well, I'm busting my ass. Why? I'm a hippie. I'm making enough to pay my bills. I'm relaxed. I'm enjoying life. So that's fine. You've chosen your life to live, or chosen to live your life in a different way.
But does that have anything to do with the poll numbers? Because that's a decision you don't care about getting ahead if you do that, right?
Yeah.
If you work hard, if you work hard, will you get ahead? Well, yeah. If you work hard, you'll become rich by age 35 and never have to worry about money? No.
Or if you work hard, you will never have a bad break or somebody screw you or have a setback that you overcome? No, of course not. But, you know, eventually, big picture, of course, yes, you'll get ahead.
I tell my kids that all the time, and hopefully it's sticking in their head somewhere, that when we run into a good employee or a bad employee, I'll say that person, you see, they don't give a crap. And so somebody else is going to get a promotion, and they're going to blame it on, who knows what, that teacher's pet, or because I'm a woman, or whatever. And it's because they don't give a crap, and the boss knows they don't give a crap, and that person over there who does give a crap is going to move ahead of them. That's the way it works. The way it's worked in my life, walking it around. Let me read from this. You can quibble if you want to, at any point. The American dream, the proposition that anyone who works hard can get ahead, regardless of their background, has slipped out of reach in the minds of many Americans. Only 36% of voters in the new Wall Street Journal survey said the American dream still holds true. Only about a third.
That is a sad commentary.
They didn't raise themselves. Right. Who taught them that?
Their teachers.
It's gotta be their teachers. How many of you parents are out there telling your kids that you can work as hard as you want, you won't get ahead? Who's telling their kid that?
A lot of losers teach their kids that. I've heard many stories, both personally and, you know, through the media and that sort of thing, of people the sort of people who make excuses about their own life will tell their kids you don't have a chance. Because if their kids grow up to be successful, that exposes them for being the reason for their own bad outcomes. And nobody wants that. You know, success has 1,000 fathers, failures an orphan.
So only a little over a third now say that the American dream still holds true, substantially fewer than the over half who said so a decade ago. It was almost a half in 2016. But it's dropped quite a bit recently. Why did it drop so much recently?
To back off my Mike Rowe-ish stance just for a moment, I will say that there are a number of ways in which it has gotten more difficult as a young person to get ahead compared to the previous decade, say, or more expensive. In Is the American dream as achievable as it was in 1952?
Or what are you defining as a dream here?
Just the way they
If you work hard, you get ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be as easy to buy a house.
Well, right, but like I'm saying, if you are comparing the ability to achieve quote unquote the American dream in 2023 versus in 1988, 72, 52, yeah, I think it's substantially more challenging than it was. You walk out of high school, you show up at the GM plant, you work reasonably hard for 8 hours a day, you will have a house and a car in the suburbs.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to explore that more. I remember as a cocky young person, which is redundant, saying to my uncle once when I was like 23 years old, having had some sort of career setback, said, it's tough out there. And he said, it always has been.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true, although I don't think it's deniable that a heavily manufacturing-based economy is going to have higher wages than a service-based economy or an information-based.
Especially when AI hits the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen to some of these other attitudes.
Okay.
Half of voters in the new poll said that life in America is worse than it was 50 years ago, compared to 30% who said it had gotten better. I don't know.
You'd had to have been alive 50 years ago to rule on that. Come on.
Well, right. I was alive 50 years ago, but I was a small child, so I don't know if I have the proper perspective. So you almost have to be like 70 to really answer the question.
And have a great memory and or a stack of diaries.
Let me go through my stack of diaries.
I mean, because all of our memories are clouded from decades ago.
So half of voters say that life in America is worse than it was 50 years ago. I think that leans toward just a bad attitude. Compared with 30% who'd said it gotten better. Ask if they believe that, this is the part that actually bothers me the most. Ask if they believe that the economic and political system are stacked against people like me. Half agreed with that statement. So half of people believe the system is stacked against people like me. So if you're a woman, if you believe it, if you're a white male, you believe it, if you're a person of color, you believe it, if you're old, you believe it, if you're young, you believe it, at least half of people.
That's what's so handy about it, yeah. If I have one thing at my core, it's a realist. I try very, very hard to be a realist. And one of my favorite things Jack ever said to me, and I wish I could remember the topic, and this was years and years ago. Thank you, Gladys. I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was bitching about something, and you said, why don't you move to a universe where that's not true? And I thought, you know what? That is the reality I have to deal with. In this universe, that's always true. And I guess that's, and I say this not without sympathy, because I have 3 kids in their 20s or very early 30s trying to make it right now. It's more difficult in some ways. It's easier in some ways. It's absolutely different in many ways than it was a decade ago, 2 decades ago, etc. This is the world you find yourself in. What is the best strategy for being successful in that world? That's the only question you have to answer. And feeling like you've been screwed because of AI or whatever else, it's not productive. And if it's not productive, don't bother.
Right. It's I came across this some philosopher who said a problem without a solution is not a problem, it's a fact. Which would be what you were just talking about. AI is coming is not a problem to be solved, it's a fact. It's just a fact. That's what the life is going to be. Whereas now.
And it's absolutely possible that you